Ryan Hennessy here alongside Rodney Gnat, Wolfson High School. Coach, talking about, we just sat down and you said that you just took over a program that was new for you. Tell me about that adjustment. I mean, that's got to be tough.
Well, we had another coach, Chad Parker, who, for personal reasons, he just got married and from family things and whatnot, decided it'd be best for him to go back to Bartram. So I got hired as defensive coordinator around the same time he got hired. So next man up, I move up from DC to head coach. So basically, I've had the challenge of more or less putting together a whole football program in about 3 weeks. So it's been a little bit of an adventure, and we finally got on the field. We had a Midnight Madness practice session, and this morning we had them out there at 6 a.m. ready to go. So we got about 40 good kids out there who are ready to work, ready to grind, and want to win some ball games. So hopefully we can get that done for them.
That's got to be a tough situation, man. So did you hire guys that you wanted now in your system? Like those, how did that work? How did those changes work?
A little bit of both, because I wanted to coach the kids we're familiar with, but also at the same time I wanted to bring my own guys and kind of implement things the way I wanted to. One guy's tied into the ESC program at another school, another guy couldn't do it, another guy started with us and then got an offer he couldn't refuse from another school. So, I mean, it's kind of been a little bit of an off and on, kind of cat and mouse game getting the coaching staff hired, but the guys we finally do settle with will be the right guys. As far as what we have now, everybody's played college ball. A couple of our coaches have played pro ball, whether it be NFL, CFL, Arena League, or whatever it be. So we have experience. We have guys that have a wealth of knowledge that can teach the kids. We just got to get them settled, get them comfortable with the kids, get them set up with the kids so we can get going, and because we play in 2 weeks, so.
Absolutely.
So you got to just try and get going.
And talking about your team, any guys that really stood out to you so far? Some names that you're like, this guy's got something special and we can really work with this.
Well, we have Stephen Ho, who's going to be playing tight end and Sam linebacker for you. He's prototypical kid I had. If I had 11 kids like him, I'd probably never lose a game. Yes sir, no sir, do whatever you want them to do, get lined up. We also have Jamarcus Broy and Mark Harrington are going to be our linebacker and our safety. Just ball hawks. They'll hit everything you move, and same thing, good kids. They'll go run through a brick wall for you and then ask me, Coach, you want me to do it again? I can do it better the second time. And I'm like, no, we're good. We just got to get everything down. But we have a bunch of talent, a bunch of kids. I know I'm forgetting kids off the top of my head, but we have a bunch of talent. And even last year, even though we ended up going 1-9, we were in, I wanted to almost say they, but it's we now. So we were in every game, even the Rams game last year. We were in every game, but because of our history and tradition of our program being a losing program, one bad thing happens, and if you go look at the film, it looks like a completely different team. Like if we throw an interception, they're all hyped up, all of a sudden we throw an interception, oh crap. Yeah. So now all of a sudden you come out again, it looks like a completely different team. So one of the things we've done to counteract that, everything's competitive. From workouts to practice to getting dressed on time, everything's competitive, everything has a certain urgency. Like for instance, this morning, I opened the locker room at 5:35, and I was like, y'all need to be on the field stretching at 5:45. So they had a limited time to get dressed, get ready, and get going. So putting pressure on them and keeping pressure on them, making everything competitive. So when it gets to Friday night and something happens in the game, we don't panic, shut it down, pack up our tent, and go, it's another loss. No, we continue to fight through it and continue to build upon that. Because like I said, talent-wise, we can compete with everybody in the city. It's just the discipline-wise and, having confidence and stuff that we can do that. And that's from day one, some of the things we've been trying to build and trying to instill with the kids in the program.
How do you, defensive coordinator, then all of a sudden get thrown into the offensive head coach, how do you lay off the defense?
I don't. I don't.
I mean, you hired a new guy, right, to be your defensive coordinator, or are you taking the calls still?
I'll still be probably a defensive coordinator. I'm still kind of working on, like I said, because trying to get our staff there, still trying to working on some things. But Jasper Sasser is another Wolfson alumni, went to play ball at South Carolina, played a little bit of pro ball. If I happen to be paying attention to offense and he happens to be running my defense, it's not an issue. But kind of like we did today, I'm going over offensive stuff, so I turn around and yell at my linebacker, like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you're supposed to fill the hole. Like, what are you doing? Like, no, you're not supposed to, like, the guard pulls, you go. Like, it's answer to that. It's basic football. Oh, coach, my bad. I'll try to be, like, okay, this is where being a practice dummy, being a football player, and having common sense kind of comes into play. Okay, you're still working on your stuff. We're servicing each other, but you're still working on your stuff and your concepts, because what you got to realize is we might have different schemes, but football is football. The concept's still the thing. You still got to run the ball. You still got to block. You still got to tackle. You still got to catch the football, whatever it may be. So you always work and master your craft. So now, tomorrow, when we go do defensive stuff, now I don't have to coach you about filling the box, filling your gap and whatnot. So I always, I'm not going to sit there and lie. Defense is my baby. That's kind of always how I've been, but I love offense. I love having the chance to work with the offense, stuff like that. And I've been lucky enough to have some mentors, Coach Foy at Fletcher, who have kind of done everything a little bit. So I always look at it from, for lack of a better phrase, the other side of the chessboard or the other side of the fence. Okay, we're doing this on offense. Or I want to do this on offense. How we get this as a defense perspective? Or how much stress as a defensive coach or a defensive coordinator is this going to put if we do this offensively? Because truth be told, when I was at Louisville, one of the teams I always hated to face was Rutgers. One, it was going to be cold. Two, they always had 300-plus linemen to deal with. And Rutgers might have ran 20 plays legitly, but they ran those 20 plays out of 90-something formations with 25 different types of motions. So you always had to keep up. You always had to do this. And obviously anybody that knows football knows, especially when you get lined up, getting lined up is half the battle. So lined up to different formations and stuff like that is always a pain. So knowing that in the back of my head, not to try to give too much away, but knowing that things with the defense I run, what can stress my defense, that's what I'm going to end up using mostly on offense. And then we have Kenny Mudge that was at Bradford County, is going to be running the show more or less. His offense he runs, I love it. It puts stress on every position. It's good to go. Kids get up, get moving. And then because we have so many skill guys, it'll also give you the opportunity to spread them out, get these guys the ball in space, and do some things that we can do.